only 1% of the people in the entire world have been awarded with a PhD. And I'm one of them. That puts me ahead of 99% of the world. Isn't it crazy? Well, not really, because if I can do that, you can too, because science has proven that with the right habits and with the right mindset, anybody can achieve that. And it's not crazy at all, and neither is magic. And if I tell you that you can absolutely do the same thing in 18 to 66 days, you'll be surprised, right? And you may be wondering, why 18 to 66 days? Because again, that's proven by science. Hi everybody, this is Dr. Samreen. I'm a PhD graduate from the UK and currently I'm working here in academia. And actually my research was all about what we do and why we do it. So you may be wondering, why did I say that you can achieve that in 18 to 66 days? It's because of the reason that research in UCL found out that all of us take from 18 to 66 days to adapt a new habit. Now the number of days can change based on the nature of the habit and also based on how we are as people. So habits which you think are difficult to adapt would take you longer than the habits which you consider easy. So all of us are trying to improve ourselves, but only few of us are succeeding in that. The reason being because either we have too unrealistic expectations from us, we are not setting the most clear goals for ourselves, or perhaps we are trying to achieve things in a very short span of time, which is not really possible. And when these things don't really turn as per our plan, what happens? We feel demotivated and we think to ourselves, well, you know what? It's not working. Why even bother? And that point really differentiates you from somebody who already have achieved that point. I have reached that point so many times during my PhD time when I would say to myself, well, I'm trying my best. I'm working so hard. I'm working full time and I'm doing a PhD. How on earth I'm going to get this done? And every single time I would have that feeling, I would tell myself that, look, what matters the most is the time you spend and the way you spend it when nobody is watching you. So you have two options. When you are on your own, you can either waste all your time on your social media, watching telly, or perhaps anything which you do to kill time, or you can spend that time productively. And when I say productively, it doesn't mean that you're always hustling. It also means that you're taking care of yourself, you're taking care of your well-being. So let's look at 4 different things which you can do to improve and get ahead of 99% of people. Let's start. And last section is the most important and you don't want to miss it. First of all, reprogram your mind. I'm a strong believer in the fact that if you put your mind into something, you definitely get that. And the reason why I strongly believe in that, because that's my personal story as well. I was an international student from Pakistan. And when I finished my MBA, before I knew, I was doing my PhD on a scholarship. Now, when I tell somebody these things, they often think that, well, that's quite straightforward and that must be very easy. But actually, I know the challenges I've faced and the people around me knew how hard I have worked. And therefore, I always believe that if you put your mind into something, you definitely can achieve that. And actually, it's not me saying that. Neuroscience has proved that as well. If you look at any successful people, you'll realize it's 20% of the strategy of what they're doing, but 80% of that success is based on psychology, that how they really think and how their mind works and how well they can put their mind into something. You see, our brain is like plastic. So when you take any plastic, you can fold it, you can make it any shapes. Same thing happens with our brain, but it only happens when we repeat our task over a period of time that our brain realizes this is a pattern and therefore we should do that. And with time, when you start doing certain things, it gets easy with time. For example, you are doing exercise. Day 1, it'll be really tough, hard to add motivation and the rest of it. But by the time you are in that activity for, let's say, more than a month, you are automatically doing those tasks because now your brain have realized that this is something you're doing repetitively and therefore this is part of you and it continues to help you to not only adapt that habit but also get really good at that. So what can you do to rewire your brain? It all starts with the morning. Start your day with gratitude and visualization. That really puts your mind into positive mode and it helps it to focus and also help you to have stronger willpower because you are visualizing the things you would like to achieve and your mind helps you to get them. Secondly, is a bit hard one. No social media in the first 2 hours of the day. If you look at neuroscience behind that, you'll be surprised to see that how active our brains are first thing in the morning. And what we do, we just end up using social media non-stop. So do not use any social media in the first 2 hours of the day. Instead, do the most important tasks in that time to get the most out of your day. Secondly, work on yourself. And when I say that work on yourself, I mean really take care of yourself, your body. Look at it as a computer, as a machine. If you're using that machine non-stop without taking care of it, what would happen? it would slow down over time and ultimately it would stop functioning. Same thing happens with our bodies. Because we don't really take care of ourselves, our physical health, and unfortunately we only realize that when something big happens to us on health front. So before that time comes, make a habit to take care of yourself. It could be anything, but start from small. There's so much scientific research that proves that how regular exercise and sleeping well helps improve our cognition, which is the mental ability and thinking ability, improves by 20%. Similarly, if you sleep well, if you rest well, it enhances your decision making, willpower and memory. Now next time you're not really getting enough sleep, observe yourself and see how you're making your decisions, how easily you're giving in to any urge you are having, be it eating unhealthy food or doing some other unhealthy activities. And also observe your memory, that how many things you remember. I'm telling you all from my experience because I used to have only a couple of hours, I would say 4 or 5 hours sleep early on. But with time I realized that that really impacts your memory as well and the kind of things you can store in your mind. So, small steps every single day. Start from preparing a regular sleeping schedule. Get at least 7 to 8 hours of good sleep and no mobile in bed. I know it's hard. And do any kind of physical activity. It could be walking, it could be cycling, it could be exercise, strength training, it could be anything. And finally, try to eat healthy. I know when I say these things, you might be thinking, well, how I can do that all at once? But trust me, you have to start from somewhere. If you think at this point, I can really just only work on my sleep patterns, absolutely, go for it. If you think at this point, I can only focus on my eating habits, or I can only focus on making myself a bit more active physically, anything would work. Because do not get into the trap of that I have to do it all at once. You can start from small things and then gradually take them a notch higher. My third point for you to get ahead of 99% of people is to build a high income skill. Now, no matter how much one say that money is not that important, ultimately you can only pay your bills if you have the money. In doing so, you should think to yourself, how can you be efficient where you're using less time and earning more money to fulfill all your needs? And in this time and age, there are so many skills you can learn to have that edge over others. Because I always used to think that, okay, we all are studying, we all are getting degrees, but at the end of the day, once you finish your degree in 2 years, 4 years, 6 years time, and when you go in the job market, you all are the same. We all have the same degree. But what really differentiates one to the other is that how you have really built your profile over that time. It means what extra courses you have done, what extra skills you have learned, which would really put you apart from the crowd. And actually, I really like Josh Kaufman's book, The First 20 Hours, How to Learn Anything, where he suggests that anybody can learn anything in the world. You just have to spend a good enough time. And actually, he suggests that spending 20 hours on one thing can help you to build a skill. Of course, you have to try for yourself. And actually on that, but I have started doing it now, that I have started to learn coding. Computing have never been my background, but now with the time I realize that this is a very important skill to have. So I'm learning Python and Pandas and Power BI and the rest of it. Of course, it's a lot of work and you have to spend a lot of time and you have to really organize, but trust me, it would pay off. So what you can do, you can build that time in your calendar to have at least 90 minutes focus time to learn one skill. And of course, you can schedule that based on your convenience, your availability, but definitely do it. But first of all, choose what that high income skill is going to be for you. Will it be sales? Will it be marketing? Will it be content creation? Although all these things look really good, but of course, you have to work towards these things. And trust me, nothing happens overnight. Another important point in building high income skill is that find a mentor, join a community, and now it's getting so easy that you can join online communities, if not physical ones. You learn from people, you ask questions, and you see how people are growing and building themselves, and you can follow the lead too. So now the most important point comes, which is mastering your time. And if you really look at the difference between high achievers and everyone else, is that high achievers always control their time. They don't let the time control them. And on that, I have some free templates as well in the description of this video. Feel free to download my time management templates, which will really help you to manage your time well. Let me know if you find them useful. And there's so many studies to back that up as well. For example, a study conducted at Harvard University found out that the people who were planning their time ahead were 30% more productive than the people who did not plan their days. So, how to do that? Kill procrastination. I know, right? It's easier said than done. And I have some other videos as well, which I can link here, which you can watch to see how can you really avoid procrastinating. But that's the first thing. Eliminate any kind of distractions, and you can get help from the apps, What I personally used to do during my PhD is that I would just put my mobile phone in the drawer and I would lock it. So I know that the biggest distraction in my life is mobile, and if I don't see it right in front of me, I can't focus on other things. Secondly, put time blockers in your calendar and stick to them. If you are giving yourself 1 hour for one activity, do not exceed that time, because trust me, we always expand our work based on time. If you are giving yourself 6 hours to do the same task, you would finish the same task in 6 hours. On the other hand, if you're giving yourself less time than 6 hours, you would end that task in less time as well. So do not let your time stretch your work, and always focus on those 20% tasks which would help you to gain 80% of results. And to achieve that, you can use Eisenhower matrix, and I have a free template in the description of this video. Download the template because that would help you to achieve that as well. And the most important thing, start writing, stop doing lists. I know we all do to-do lists, which is the things you would like to do, but create a list which tells you that these things you should not do. It could be anything. In my case, it was using social media after a certain time of the day. So see what kind of things come out in your list. You can share them in the comments as well. So that was it. You can also get ahead of 99% of people based on your willpower. And of course, it's a combination of your mind, body, and managing time. I hope you find this video useful. Do let me know in the comment section, what is that one skill which you would like to learn in this year? Take care until next video. Bye.